Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm here with Ryan Graham,
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber,
Hello.
special guest Todd Reckemeyer,
Anchor down.
and this is State of Atlanta. Boo.
He's wearing
What's
a Georgia
that
State
crap?
hat. He's wearing a Georgia State hat. He's
Yeah.
wearing a Vandy shirt, but a
And-
Georgia State hat.
Fair enough.
For those who do not know Todd, he is one of our favorite Patreon members because he pays a lot. And he went to Vandy. He went to Vandy undergrad, but then went to Georgia State, wisened up. You know, he went to Vandy and got all the intelligence he needed to know that he should have gone to Georgia State from the very beginning. And so he is a Georgia State master. Yeah, I like that. Georgia State master. And here you're going to join us to talk about that game in a little bit. But we got a win of the season, guys. How's that feel?
Feels good.
A win of
Get
the
a W?
season. The first win of the season, right? First win.
Whoa. Too far.
I have this hang up on saying first when you don't know if there will ever be a second. Like when Michael Phelps won his first gold medal, like we don't know if he's going to win a second. He's going to go win like 38 more later on. But that very first time that when he first did it, man, we don't know if there's a second yet. So I don't know what the answer is to that question.
It's like when people used to ask me if Lizzie is my first kid. And before I knew I was going to have more, before I had planned to have more at least, I guess I don't know if I'm going to have more, but before I planned to have more, I'd always be like, I'd correct. I'd say only.
Right.
But turns out they were right.
As a male who did not conceive a child the first time they had sex, you could always say, I don't know.
That's true.
She may be my first kid. I am
That's
not
true.
100% positive that she's not.
We'll never know.
All right. Murray State. So
Where
we
are
won.
we?
What was
What's
it?
going on?
37-21. How are we feeling about that score? That is the smallest margin of victory against Murray State this season.
We're just giving them some points. That's all. That's all I got. I mean, I think we rotated a bunch of people in and out. Isn't that what happened in the second half? Like we felt comfortable. You know, Coach A.D. McGee was like, hey, let's get some freshmen, some experience. Let's get them in the game, right? Turn off the Jets a little bit. Like, isn't that what happened? Like, right? Yeah, that's what happened, right? Now Dreads.
You know,
like
if
close
that
for
is what
comfort.
happened. Go ahead, Todd.
I do think it is. It looks. You look at the box score alone. It looks like that's what happened, and I think that's what we've seen from the players that played in the second half. It looked like that AD McGee, pulled a lot of the starters in the second half when we had a lead because they scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they didn't score but 7 in the entire first 3 quarters. So it definitely looks like gas was pulled off, brakes were put on, backups were put in there. But I didn't get to watch a lot of the game this week, and when I did watch, I was probably more drunk than I'm normally drunk watching a game.
So how did we do with drunk David?
Oh, I was pissed off the entire time.
You seemed like it. I could see some posts.
I couldn't do the
It was-
math. I didn't know how many points we were up by. I'm like, we're gonna lose now. Like, oh wait, we're up 16.
Hey, anything's possible with Georgia State football.
Todd,
Right. It
go
was
in.
Bourbon Week at the tailgate, so I think we were all feeling pretty good.
I think it was very obvious at the bourbon tailgate that those of us that cooked bourbon foods didn't. They always say the alcohol cooks off, like it's just the flavor from the alcohol. It's not the actual. Yeah. Well, that's if you have like a chef, someone who knows what they're doing. But when you get a bunch of tailgate alcoholics and you have a bourbon thing, I think there was a lot of alcohol in that food because we had some people that are not professional alcoholics like us or not drinkers at all that were having the time of their lives on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Mine definitely didn't cook off. I had like a glaze that I just literally threw into the oven for like 10, 15 minutes as I was walking out the door. There's none of that cooked off.
There was,
it was about
nowhere to
half and
go
half.
without bourbon. Yeah. The bourbon was flowing everywhere, whether it was in the food, in the drinks. It was, yeah.
What
a
was your
heavy
favorite,
tailgate.
Todd? What did you like, Todd? And you're more than welcome to say the wings are the best, but whatever. What did you
Pork
like?
belly, probably.
Pork belly was probably, if I had to rank them, probably the number one thing. But your wings were good, and I think it was my fault for not getting there while they were warm. Probably really enjoy, the highest version of them. But yeah,
Fair.
I think this game, yeah, it didn't blow us away in the box score. Probably not exactly like the full result we wanted, but it was a get right game, right? We needed to kind of cleanse the palate, so to speak. And I think, look, we got off the schneid. So, I mean, I don't know. A win's a win at that point.
Yeah,
I would say this.
I just
Oh, go ahead.
I would just think like that with I know we're just four of us, so we're all talking all over each other this time. But 30-7, I think is when we would have been switching out with some of the freshmen or second string, third string, and all that stuff. And I do think that's too early, especially given our first two games. And like you need to make people feel comfortable, and like as much for the fans as anyone else. Let us get like let's just go out there and whoop them, But I will say the defense had 3 turnovers and a safety, and like kind of continued to kind of have these really big plays where it seems like they're able to make these big plays, but still not really able to stop the offense very much. So, but I mean, 7 points at the point where we said, hey, your second string, third string can come in. Like, yeah, I'm glad we only held them to 1 score up to then, but I just think it was way too early.
All right, now I'll say this. Gaze backwards in Georgia State football history. Think about all the FCS games we've played. I didn't feel uncomfortable pretty much at all during this game. There was no like, we're going to lose. They're going to come back. This is it. Watch this. They just scored. There's 4 more touchdowns coming. Or holy shit, we're losing to an FCS team. I had none of that feeling throughout the game. None.
Very good point.
So that was the vibe I had going through the whole game. I'm like, this feels good. I like this. I don't want to worry about an FCS team anymore.
They got the early score and never lost the lead, and maintained that. Like you said, Ryan, was it 30-7, and then also back-to-back weeks on getting a safety, right?
Weird.
Yeah.
And okay, am I wrong on this? There were some comments on Panther Talk. Was this just our second and third safeties we've ever had before?
There was third and fourth.
Third and fourth. It was third and fourth.
Yeah. So
we've not
15
had
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're averaging one. Sorry, Todd. We're averaging one like every graduating class, or not, but like every 4-year class. Like if you go to school at Georgia State,
you'll see one safety
from freshman through senior year. You'll see one safety a year, in your tenure at Georgia State. Sorry, that made no sense. Todd, what were you going to say?
And the second one was against Vandy last year, right? So, am I wrong? Didn't we have
Maybe so?
Yeah.
That sounds. Yeah. I think the first one was a Cure Bowl. Cure Bowl was the first safety. Is that right?
I think that's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy to think, because like Minter had, what I would consider like the most fun and probably best defense we've ever had, and for Coach A.D. McGee to be blowing that out of the water is interesting.
Yeah, the defense looked good from what I saw, from what I can remember. But we needed this game. I said last week this is the mustest of must wins, and we needed it because the schedule is just absolutely brutal. And not to get straight into Vandy, but man, like it's not it's not an easy path. We have the win under our belt, and now Vandy comes in ranked 20. We go over there ranked 20. We get a bye. We still have Jimmy and Appy and Trash Down South. It's not an easy path, so it was very, very important to get that confidence under the players' belts. Because man, could you imagine losing the FCS game? How we'd feel going into this game this week?
Yeah, a bad FCS team.
Terrible.
So what do you think about the quarterback situation?
I was actually going to say that. Talk about that. It was good to see. TJ Finley went out there, played a pretty good game while he was in. He threw the 2 interceptions though, and I think Coach is not having it. Right? That's what happened last week too. Is Finley threw some interceptions and Coach pulled him, and he did it again. And Cam Brown kind of came in and kind of proved that he should have been there in the first place with like 101 yards, and I think he missed 2 passes. Got 3 touchdowns. I'm checking my notes. I have 3 touchdowns. I feel like our quarterback situation was terrifying in the first game, and then we sort of like figured something out in the second game, and that was it was going to be TJ or Cam, and then they have 2 good games.
That's a good point. Do you think that McGee, because Ryan, you talked about the Ole Miss game being the practice game, the exhibition game for McGee and this roster. Do you think that knowing Finley was going to be available in week 2, that he started Christian just for whatever reason, like don't get Cam injured, don't do something, that Christian was kind of a decoy the entire time?
I have no idea. I have no clue.
All right, Todd, make
anyone
it up.
else?
What do you
Anyone
think?
else have an opinion about that? Because I don't even want to guess. Like I just have nothing. I have,
It's a good theory. I have no idea to know what could be the actual truth. But yeah, I mean, based on how that game went, it does kind of feel like, we got our check, and I mean,
Yeah.
the defense had some moments, in that game too, though. So back to Ryan's earlier point, I do think we're seeing a lot of flashes with this defense. So, yeah. I just wanted to point out, Ted Hurst had a huge game on Saturday.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, another big one. And yeah, that guy is just continuing to just see his draft stock go up.
Yeah. 172 yards. That's a nutso game. That's awesome.
2 touchdowns, I think, wasn't it?
3? Wait.
3?
No,
5.
2 touchdowns. You're
5.
right. 2.
Let's go with 5.
10. I hear it was 10.
TDs, 172 yards, 2 TDs, 10 receptions. I mean, that's a stat line right there.
Yeah.
We don't do stats on this podcast, so there you go.
Because normally we're too drunk to remember them and too lazy to look them up.
But the other good thing is 2 other receivers also got touchdowns. So like it's not just the Ted Hurst show, right? Like other people are able to get in there and do some things. Now, I think last week I said it was like Robinson did pretty well, and I think he was mostly quiet, but then 2 other guys sort of stepped into that place. And so it was like, all right, well, if we've got a whole, a bunch of wide receivers back there, I think we're going to be in really good shape. So if we have quarterback and receivers, our line seems to be playing okay. Like it seems like maybe our offense is going to be pretty good in conference play.
Who's going to be our quarterback? Is it Finley or Brown?
I think it's Cam Brown.
I do too.
Coach said he's gonna he wants to see both of them, but I don't buy it for a second. He also was talking about DJ Murray.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
Dennis Murray
he got like
Jr.
He got like one snap.
Pass.
But for 30 something yards though, so like he did all right. But I'm like, I mean, 3 quarterbacks, like I don't know, man. I'm a pretty big proponent of 1 quarterback. I don't like these 2 quarterback systems.
Yeah, I mean, Finley looked good, but also the 2 picks. So it's like it's 2 games in a row. I feel like he threw a pick in the last game, if I'm not mistaken, at least one.
Yeah.
So
and a better team would have picked more though.
Yeah, that's the thing against Murray. Yeah,
I feel like we would have had a better shot in the previous game against Memphis if we left Cam in. But
maybe.
Well, the talk around the Brown family dinner table is that cousin Cam should be playing, starting all the games. So we have a lot of faith in our family members.
All right. There's a lot of Veyer talk too. Like there's posts on some of the group chat threads, I guess, and Panther Pride that keeps talking about put Veyer in. I'm like, really? No,
I've seen nothing that makes me think that Veyer is the correct option. I think I want to play it out between Finley and Cam. And and honestly, I'm with you, Ryan. I think that Cam makes the absolute most sense right now. What do you think, Todd?
I think Veyer sees any more meaningful snaps on the field unless there's barring some insane amount of injuries to those 2 guys. I mean, I think based on what I've been seeing, I'd like to see Brown be the primary starter, and I don't know. I think he's kind of earned that at this point.
Team Brown. I love it.
Other bright spot, we didn't attempt any field goals.
I know, right?
That's what I was going to say about Veyer is like, hey, man, we need a kicker.
Well, it's open. It's open.
Atlanta was saving all their field goals for the Falcons the next day.
Jesus.
They didn't want to waste any on Atlanta. Well, I guess and Tech handled the field goal stuff for Atlanta on Saturday. Stupid Tech. Real nerds. All right, so that was Murray State. I don't think there's much more to say about them.
I did have one other thing. And
go for it.
It was a negative. A shit ton of penalties, man. Like just a ton of penalties. It was 130 yards of penalties. Like crazy. Just, I don't know. It just felt like every other play there was a penalty flag. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, why are we playing so sloppy? And it wasn't anything that I thought was like on the refs or anything. I didn't think they were picking on us. We were just committing a bunch of penalties.
Yeah, because it wasn't one-sided. I mean, like, oh, sorry, it was one-sided. It was Georgia State getting the penalties. Murray State was not getting the same number of penalties, right?
They had 3 and we had 13. So
we're an undisciplined team, is what you're trying to say, Ryan.
It was just rough. I mean, there were times I would look down and be like, "Man, we're like 20 yards off the line of scrimmage or something." I'm like, "What the hell's going on here?"
I hate penalties. Just let them play. Yeah. Just let them go at it. Like every play, I don't even want to have like a line of scrimmage. I just want to have like everybody starts like 10 yards back from the line of scrimmage. You have the center on the line, and then everybody else is like 10 yards back, and they just run immediately. And if you get a step off the first guy, who cares? I don't know. Just go. Like kind of like dodgeball. Like no one ever complains about dodgeball, like hitting each other. They all run right to the line. There's no helmets and masks and whatever.
Dude, I think you would like rugby.
Yeah,
I have been drunk in bars not knowing what sport was on, and like this is amazing. And I was told it was Australian rugby. Apparently, I like a rugby played upside down. So
it's basically linebackers versus fullbacks, and there's no plays. They just go. They just hit each other.
I heard about rugby players. It's like soccer is a bunch of a gentleman's game played by hooligans, and rugby is a hooligan's game played by gentlemen.
I don't think they're gentlemen. I think they take offense to that.
Yeah.
No, I think rugby players, if you actually meet a you meet a soccer player, they're all pompous, whatever. But you meet a rugby player, it's like the analogy of like a biker. Like you see a biker, the leather and all that kind of crap, and they look badass, and they're either fat or muscular or whatever. But then you also like, there's this whole thing in the parenting community, like don't look for a cop. If you lose your mommy or daddy, don't look for a cop. Look for a biker, because the bikers will take care of everybody.
I've never heard
same
that.
Thing. Yeah, no, I've heard that. I've heard that look for a guy that is dressed like a village person, and they'll take care of your kid. That's not right. Not exactly right.
All right.
I may have strayed off course on that analogy, but anyhow.
All right. So how about the Panthers? Yeah. I'm not gonna pile on Cam Brown, but I will say also maybe a better dual threat quarterback. I mean, he's had a couple good runs in the game as well, and I like that. I mean, I want that for our team.
So we need to get shirts. Yes, we can.
Ooh. All right.
Ooh, that's a better idea than the other one.
Or
when we
beat Vandy, we cam all over your face.
God,
that'd be amazing.
All right.
Hey, we're gonna need Cam to run all over.
What can Brown do for you? What can Brown do for you?
Yeah, I tried that pickup line when I was in college, but no one knew that my last name was Brown when I hit on them, and it's not a really attractive pickup line. Yeah. All right. Murray State, we won as we were supposed to. Maybe not been. I did want to put one last thing out there, only because Nelson would not shut up about it on Panther Talk.
What was it?
We beat Murray State by 16 points, but who was it? East Tennessee State beat them by a lot more, and then West Georgia, who's like transitioning from Division II to Division I, beat East Tennessee State by a lot more than that. So it's a weird transitive type thing, but Nelson wouldn't shut up about it, and I know he listens. So I wanted to acknowledge that we didn't do as well against Murray as West Georgia did against East Tennessee. I don't know. It's a weird connection.
West Georgia.
I probably should pay more attention to it.
I'll say this. We are a weird team, so there's no comparisons. You can't. We're not the norm.
No, you do not want to deal with that at all. Okay. Let me finish my beer, and we can start talking to Todd about this game.
Well, so I'm sorry. I had one other thing, and it was about the tailgate.
One more thing. Maybe two.
So the tailgate was interesting because we got there, and probably for the first time in 15 years, the gates were closed at like 11. I think it was like more like 10:30, 11, something like that. And they insisted.
We were there late by our standards. Like normally
very late, 9:00.
Like before we started getting the Mac sponsored alcohol, if you're a Patreon member, patreon.com/Atlanta free alcohol at our tailgates. Before we started getting that, it was like if we got there after 8:00, that was considered late. But now I can't pick up the booze until 8:30 anyways. Right. which they do open early on game day Saturdays. So, but yeah, we used to be early, and now we got there. What was it, Ryan? It was like
It was probably like 10:30.
you were there like at 10:30ish. Yeah, I was closer to 11. You were to 10:30. Sorry, just to set the stage. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and yeah, so we showed up and they told us, that we could not pull the car in, and that the gates were not open until noon. And so I think moving forward, the gates will not open until they've, the announced time, which has just not been the case again for 15 years. And so the tailgate starts right outside the gates. We set up right out there. We had a good time. Todd came running by, and we were like, "What are you doing here?" And he was like, I'm out for my run." I was like, "Oh."
While you alcoholics are out here drinking on a Saturday morning, I'm over here getting my heart rate up and doing good stuff. But yeah, Brian, I love that you found a solution to the problem. So we are going to just tailgate outside the gates of the bricks. We need a new term, at the gates or something like that. I don't know.
On the bricks, at the gates, on the bricks.
At Victory Plaza, yeah, we can workshop that one. We can figure out what we're gonna do. But
it's the pre-tail.
What if we just park on the side of the road and just put our flashers on and just tailgate right next to our cars?
I thought about that, Tim, and the only reason I don't like that idea, because I definitely was like, I could totally see people in positions of authority making sure the cops watched us drink alcohol and then got in our cars to move them when it was time. So yeah, that's why, for two reasons. That's why I parked my car and walked over, but I also had my kids, and so I didn't want drinking with the kids in the car and all that kind of stuff. But anyhow, there is actually one other time where this happened to us, Ryan, when we got moved when they started building Mercedes-Benz, and we got moved over to the blue lot at Georgia Dome, and I can't remember if it was you that was there. I was definitely there early in that little corner we set up on, and we got everything. So we got the tents set up, we got the coolers. It was you. And we get the coolers set up and everything, and then the security guards come over and they're like, "You guys can't be here for I think it was like another 20 minutes." And so the tailgate that we set up in 5 took us about 45 minutes to move off of there. Like, oh yeah, we'll move everything. And we just slowly took everything off the parking lot and put it back in our cars while we drank the entire time. And then when that 20 minutes passed up,
I remember being surprised that there was somebody at that gate when in the blue lot, because they scanned our badges and stuff. Like they had somebody monitoring and all that, and they scanned us in, and we were good to go. So I don't even remember
we were parked on the actual street because they did not have anybody that would let us in, and we just walked across that little corner over there. It sounds like us, at least. I'm gonna go with that.
I just must have blacked that one out. Oh well.
Yeah.
One other time.
So tailgate is still on at AF.
As early as y'all want to be there, because we'll be there.
It did actually happen one other time
in the streets, wherever.
There was one other time in our history at Center Park. It wasn't on purpose. There just wasn't anyone there yet to let us in. And I remember calling or texting someone, and they came and opened the gates.
Oh yeah, that happened to me too. They
let us in.
They did let us in.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
One more thing on the game day operations. We obviously are the ones that tailgate early. Get it, right? 100%. But what if there were 4 or 5 other groups that did tailgate early and they didn't know about this new rule? I don't know. You got to communicate. That's all I'm gonna say.
I want to add a different.
I don't know who you
is,
but they.
I want to add a different perspective. I think that if Todd ever runs past our tailgate before a game again, he's required to check. He's got to drink a beer before he's allowed to run past it. Todd, are you agree that if you run? All right, there we go. All right.
What mile were you on when you ran past the stadium? I gotta know.
It was mile
16. My God.
I was training for my marathon, not half. I just ran a half marathon, and this is my 5K on the way home.
You make me sick, Todd. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Todd, I drink for you.
Hey, Todd, I want to let you know that I watched a TikTok video, which means it was true, that said that people that run a lot get colon cancer more, and I don't want you to get colon cancer. I just want you to stop running.
I actually heard about that article. I think it was a New York Times article or something. And I mean, a serious thing. I guess I gotta stop running.
You're jostling that
Exactly.
shit around up in there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stop that. You gotta slow down.
Okay. Are we done? Everything. Final points. Murray State. We're good.
Murray
Tailgates.
State.
Everything
Game day
is done.
operations.
Wait,
We're all
All
done.
done. One more?
Yeah, we're done.
I don't
No,
love
no.
you like. Okay. All right. All right. Here we are, Todd. I said this when you logged on originally before we started talking and everything. Was one of my first questions I had lined up to ask you was what you were going to wear to this game. And right now I'm watching you. You're wearing a Vandy sweatshirt and a Georgia State hat. Is this what we can expect to see you in on Saturday? Because I know you're going to the game.
Yeah, I think it'll be some version of this. Yeah, I didn't get any special, half and half jersey made or anything like that. I didn't really feel like going through the process of getting one of those made. So no, it'll be something like this. And I will point out this is the proper Vandy logo. So if you see that trashy V that we have now, that's the improper logo. All true Vandy fans hate that logo. The V star should have never went away.
You are definitely a Georgia State fan because you care so much about the logos, and I think that's a big part of being a Georgia State guy.
Absolutely.
All right, but here's my alternate idea for you. I don't like this idea as much because I like the fact that you're representing Georgia State as well as Vandy right now. But here's my other idea, and this idea only works when Georgia State wins. I think because you guys are a bunch of nerds over at Vandy and you have like real jobs that like pay real money and stuff, is you need to have. I'm sure you have like a nice button down shirt with the Vandy logo on it. You wear that, but underneath it, you have your blue Georgia State shirt, just like Clark Kent and Superman. And you wear that Vandy button down the entire game. But as soon as Georgia State wins, you just rip it open and you expose your true superpowers.
I mean, part of me likes this theory, and part of me says, let's not make that happen.
All right, I want to ask you who you're really rooting for at the end of the episode. I don't want to do it now. We'll just talk about Vandy in the game and everything. But man, what the hell of a season is Vandy having right now? And it's thanks to us, right?
Absolutely.
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Georgia State lit a fire under Pavia's ass last year, and he's just been on a roll ever since. I mean, I guess has to be what we credit that to.
Exactly.
Well, I think he just had his 32nd birthday, right?
He's starting. I believe he's collecting Social Security starting next week. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you schedule when you're a G5 or G6, what are the help programs we are now? Group of sucks. When you have one of these programs and you schedule Vandy out in like 6 or 7 years, like we used to schedule games out, that this was obviously like a hell yeah, this is a chance for us to get a couple of wins against an SEC opponent. And we did. We got the home win last year, and it was great. It was back and forth there at the very end, but we got the win, and it was awesome. And then Vandy went on this winning streak, beating Bama, and then was it Tech in the bowl game and everything. And now we're heading up there. You guys are ranked number 20 in the nation. I think it was a 26.5-point spread in this game. Why, Todd? Why you?
It's too many points. I will say, so yes, Vandy's 3-0. They're number 20. I'm still not quite fully sold on the power of this team just yet. There's been a lot of circumstances that have led to the last couple wins. The Virginia Tech game was a completely dominant performance, which was really impressive in Blacksburg. Obviously a great home environment there. South Carolina, their quarterback got knocked out late in the second quarter. And their quarterback's, supposed to be a potential NFL prospect and all that. So, the defense has looked really good. Pavia's looked really good. Run games looked really good. But I'm still a little skeptical on, the quality of opponent we've played. So I don't know. I'm not fully I'm trying to be as objective as possible with.
Don't be objective. That's the wrong podcast. All right. Here's what I think. I think Vandy's going to come in high and mighty. Look at us. We beat South Carolina 31-7. We beat Virginia Tech, who's also terrible, by the way, 44-20. I mean, even ODU beat them. We beat Charleston Southern Powerhouse 45-3. It's just Georgia State, whatever. Like, they're going to come in so high about being South Carolina. Yes, they will. And they still want revenge too.
Yeah, and that's the only point why I disagree with you, Tim. Is like they remember. I don't know what your transfer
They don't
portals look
remember
like.
anything.
I don't know what your portal looks like. Well, they have all photographic memories because they're a bunch of nerds. I don't know what your portal looked like at Vandy, Todd, but in theory, most of this team remembers getting embarrassed in Atlanta last year. So the coaching staff sure does.
And Pavia does, and he's really the only one that really matters as far as the offense is concerned. So
yeah, but I'm just gonna make
sure
the same joke
remembers.
again. I'm gonna just make the joke again because his memory's going. So it's like will he remember by next week? I don't know.
Early onset Alzheimer's, maybe not even early, just regular onset.
I still think they're going to overlook us. I really do. I think they're just going to come to this game like whatever. Last year's a mistake. It was weird weather, whatever. Just insert some weird thing, and they're like, "That's not going to happen. We're Vandy. We're going to beat the out of them," and it might not happen. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be 26.5.
I agree with you, Tim. I don't think it's going to be 26.5. I don't think this team is overlooking the Panthers this year. Because
Mighty
of
Panthers.
last year, the Mighty Panthers, because of last year, and also, they've been on the road these last 2 games. I think the home crowd's going to be really excited to, see a home ranked game, and we don't have to get into score predictions just yet, but I think the spread is too much.
So that was actually a question I was going to ask you. You talk about the stadium getting rocked and everything. Well, first of all, what is enrollment like at Vandy? I should have looked it up. I don't know what's enrollment. How big of a program or school is it?
When I was there, it was around 6,500 students.
Okay, so it's small. It's small. So what you have a pretty big stadium, and we'll talk about the not expansion, but the changes they did to it over the past couple of years. Georgia State has no excuse for us having nobody in the stadium other than the losses. But because we've got everybody that graduates from Georgia State stays in or around Atlanta. Very, very few people get a degree from Georgia State and then go off to NASA or Google or whatever it may. Well, Google could be here in Atlanta. Anyhow, you know what I'm saying. But Vandy, you got your intellect crowd, and they go to Vandy. They go all over the country and everything. How many Vandy fans stay in the Nashville area, and what does the fan base look like? Is it all Vandy grads? Do you grab Nashville people? What does that fan base look like?
Yeah, it's a running joke, in the SEC of how, when there's an SEC team that comes into Vandy, that 70% of the stadium is filled with the colors of the opposing team, and
that's
it is. It's not a joke. It's a reality. People say it's a joke, because they laugh at Vandy, and I think the issue is, we have a very small student body to pick from to begin with. So you're only, of the 6,500, how many of those are coming to the game? Even if it's half, that's still only like 3,300 students, right? And a lot of people, they go elsewhere after their time at Vandy. There are some people that live, certainly plenty of graduates that live in Tennessee, but we're not getting a lot of the foot traffic, all the sports radio and all that. They're not, yes, there are some shows that will cover Vandy, but it is a UT state. It's a anything but Vandy state, even within Nashville, which when I was there always kind of pissed me off. But that's just the reality of the way it works. More people, more money.
Yeah. So you just really choose bad football programs to go to for school.
Exactly. As far as the stadium goes, they've been doing a lot of renovations over the last 2 years. There's a project called Vandy United, where they're really trying to make just for reference, the football stadium, the baseball field, and the basketball facility are all like right next to each other, and they're trying to do a better job of.
How great would that be, right?
Yeah,
it's almost like an athletics neighborhood.
One day.
I don't know.
So they're trying to make them a little more connected, like free flowing, and then also the big project with the football stadium has been putting in the end zone, the whole new end zone thing, which before there really was just like a grass field on the one end zone, with the one they've been doing the work on. So it kind of just looked like a U-shaped stadium, and so now it will kind of feel like more of a complete, typical bowl type stadium.
But there's like amenities and crap like that that are supposed to be like new and now, and some stuff being opened up to people, and I don't know. Using some of that $75 million a year and SEC money to do something.
Yeah, I mean, when I was there, the concessions were like, hot dogs and sodas, and this was before SEC teams could even sell, beer within the stadium. So it was really
we can
like
buy
all
beer.
you got.
We can buy beer, right? We can buy beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, unless they changed that, that was a
bail on
change.
I was there for a Georgia game. They were selling, I promise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to bail on my entire trip and go to Wild Leap and drink beer and get a free burger that Ryan won't stop talking about.
I wouldn't stop talking about it, but I didn't go get one at the stadium the other night, so who knows?
Well, you've been drinking for a minute, and you had to ride home.
That's true.
All right.
How's the tailgate scene at Vandy? Because that campus is just like gorgeous. That's what I remember about like riding through there when I was hanging out in Nashville when I last was there, and I was like, man, tailgating here must be cool just because it's such a pretty campus.
It is, and there's a whole little section called Vandyville where there's a whole line of. I know, very, very original. There's like a line of 50, tents or however many people, pay for a tent on a given year. And, it's a great, great area. It's, compared to UGA or another SEC school, it probably pales in comparison. It's probably the Grove and all that. It's not going to be anything like that, but it's a fun atmosphere. So yeah, I mean, it's a solid tailgating scene.
Are there like spots to like hit up at Vandy? Like, are there like must go to bars or things to see over there? Because I went there when we played. Was that when RJ was still? I can't remember if RJ was still here or not. We played basketball up at Vandy, and I went up there with a friend of mine for the game. And we went to 2 bars separated by a wall called Winners and Losers. And Losers was like just bumping and happened. Vandy won that basketball game, but Losers was bumping and happening, having a great time. And Winners was dead. And I just joked that Vandy was so used to losing that everyone just went to Losers and everyone to Winners. But then I heard that Winners has actually closed down because they're not owned by the same people. I just assumed they were. So are there bars to go to in Vandy that are like, as far as like, middle-aged Atlantans to check out?
Yeah. There's like different areas within Nashville, obviously, depending on if you're going to try to stay close to Vandy. Winners and Losers. You may know more about me as far as the state of Winners at the moment, but those would be 2 good options. The Local, there's actually a place called The Local that is pretty good. That's not far from campus. And then if you're wanting to go like downtown to like classic Broadway Nashville, the Stage, you can't go wrong there. That's a classic.
What I want to do is, I'm going up with some of my Atlanta drinking buddies. One of them went to Vandy back in like the 80s, and he only ever cares about Vandy sports when Vandy does something good. I remember being at the Decatur Beer Festival with him when his buddy texted him that Vandy had beaten Georgia in some game, and he started harassing all of our Georgia friends. I'm like, you had to be told that you won the game. You didn't even know they were playing Georgia that day. Whatever. So I'm bringing him, yay, and then I'm bringing another buddy of mine. He's just one of my absolute best friends, one of my drinking buddies. He went to University of Denver as an Ohio State fan, so that kind of guy. And then I've got a friend of mine that I made in Atlanta who went to Georgia State, but we didn't know each other at the same time. But she actually was the officiant of my wedding. And then her and her husband live in Franklin, Tennessee. So I'm hanging out. These are the people that I'm hanging out with. So they just want to go and they want to bar hop through Nashville, making our way towards the game. And I forgot where I was going with this, but that's my story for this weekend.
Well, if you're going to bar hop to the game, I would say you probably want to start like downtown, like at the Broadway section. Yeah.
I got it. I figured out what I wanted to do. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but you're a Vandy fan. So here's my idea. I think I'd take these 4 or 5 people I have with me. And what I think we should do is we should go bar hop in Nashville and then get one of those bachelorette party booze trolley things, whatever, right, and overtake it and have it take us straight to the stadium. Is that something that I will get a felony for?
I didn't go to Vandy Law, so I can't comment on the legal.
What are you worth?
Boy.
Should we
yeah,
talk more about the game?
starting
Should we talk
downtown
more
and
about?
moving towards campus would be a good option. You're
Gotcha.
a couple miles from campus when you're downtown. So, yeah.
We got our group chat for the people going to the Vandy game. We'll stay in contact and figure out where everybody's going. Because Ryan, you're not going. Todd's going. Tim, you're going. You're just part of the chat. Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm just gonna
Gotcha. Part of the debauchery. All right. So yeah, I
debauchery.
want to get back to these games. We talked about Vandy and these games they've had. So the 3-0, which when's the last time Vandy's been 3-0 to start a season? Like a Jake Cutler years or something like that. And
probably the James Franklin years.
okay, that means nothing to me.
Well, he's the ass that took a the Penn State game.
The Penn State.
Yeah.
You said the name. I was like, I know the name, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's the Penn State asshole. We hate that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So Charleston Southern, you did what you were supposed to do against the FCS team. Virginia Tech. So it was 44-20 that you won, but it was like 20-10 or something at halftime. Va Tech, and then just
34 unanswered.
Dude, where were you watching that game? Were we playing? Where were you watching this game?
I was home, trying to remember the exact timeline of everything, but I turned on the game I think at halftime and was like, all right, it's a game. Oh, I was at a party and I came back and was watching from like the third quarter on. I'm like, all right, it's a game. I was keeping up with it. I'm like, okay, we're within reach. And then got home and we scored like 4 touchdowns consecutively within the span of 10 minutes. And I'm like, what the heck is this?
Because my TV broke?
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's replaying the same thing over and over again. But the only thing changing is the score.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they really buckled down defensively in that second half, obviously, giving up no points. But they also I think Virginia Tech had like 4 straight 3-and-outs. I mean, they were just not giving up any yards, anything at all. And the offense finally got going. I think the time of possession in the second half was like 22 minutes to 8 or something like that. So it was a complete, difference of halves for sure.
That's crazy. One of my best friends went to Virginia Tech. So I've always kind of like, third, fourth, fifth seed in my following of football has always been watching Virginia Tech, and that's just they're really good at not being good at football. So that was surprising to me. But then they went and they got embarrassed in the hell by Old Dominion this past week, 45-26. I think they basically beat them as well as you guys did. So either Old Dominion
See where you're going with this.
Is
really good.
Is an SEC powerhouse, or Virginia Tech is just a
Trash.
Sun Belt. Virginia. Vanderbilt is a Sun Belt bottom dweller. One of the two, and Virginia Tech it just sucks.
This is why I think 26.5 points is way too much, and I'm not fully bought in on the longevity of this season just quite yet.
Don't take the points. Don't take the points, as we were saying. And then South Carolina. You already talked about South Carolina, 31-7, which I based off score alone, it looks like the most impressive win because South Carolina was ranked, but quarterback was injured, and things didn't go as well for them. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's been good quality football, So I think I don't know if you want to get into talking about like what you can expect as far as the type of gameplay you'll see, but Vandy really tries to establish the run. That's their bread and butter. So you'll see a lot of option with Pavia, a lot of play action after the run gets established, and he's not afraid to take shots. So I believe Pavia, and I know this is not a stats podcast, but I think he's got the highest yards per attempt for any SEC quarterback, which that's generally a sign that things are going well with the passing game. So
yards per
attempt. Come on,
yards per attempt. I mean, like you could be like missing all those passes, and that's I'm trying.
Well, but they don't. But if you're missing them, you're not getting the yards.
Okay,
so it's only a high number if you're connecting.
See, this is how little I know about stats because I hear yards per attempt, and I'm going to get the most yards per attempt for an entire season. Well, not me because my arm is like jello. I'm going to launch the ball at 80 yards every time. No one's ever going to get, but I'm going to go down and I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame for most yards per attempt. That was
Are we
stupid.
sure Cam Brown is actually not David Brown? Because you do have eligibility left and you're enrolled.
Well, we don't know where David was during the game, so
I was not in the stadium that you know of last week. So, yeah. No, cousin Cam, I don't think he wants me to take his glory at all. But I should totally get a brown jersey, right? I should totally get a brown
you
jersey.
should get a brown jersey. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It should be blue though. It should be blue though.
Well, yeah, when I'm done with it. We beat Vandy. That jersey is not going to be blue. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I don't know what that means, and I don't
know what
want
that
to
means, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Ryan.
You've seen Deadpool with the brown pants, right? So Pavia, this is like the Falcons when we had Vic, right? Like one person just did everything. That he just puts the team on his shoulders and he just carries the team, right?
So yes, he is that type of player, like the guy who's just gonna, I mean, you'll see it on Saturday. He will probably lay his shoulder into a couple of our Georgia State defenders. I'm going to say our and we multiple times talking about both sides. Yeah, I'll try to not make it too confusing. But yeah, no, he will definitely like be the guy to. Yeah, he's not going to avoid a hit for sure. He's going to lay a hit. But there are other offensive weapons for sure. Cedric, what's his last name? The running back.
Alexander.
Yeah, there are other players. But no, Eli Stowers.
Alexander. Yeah.
Yes, Cedric Alexander. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, he's actually had a really good season. And then Eli Stowers, the tight end, he's the guy who transferred over with Pavia from New Mexico State, and they have a really strong connection. And also, Stowers is, I think, the number 1 ranked tight end for the next draft class for the NFL. So I mean, there are weapons on Vandy's offense outside of Pavia. It's not just a one-man show, but yeah.
Is Pavia gonna go in the draft?
No. He's petitioning for a 7th season. No. I read that today.
No,
I'm like, holy shit, he's gonna be like 40 years old.
Yeah, he's actually too old for the NFL.
He's going straight into the Hall of Fame. He's just too old to actually go into the game. First player drafted into the Hall of Fame.
I haven't looked to see if he's actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I feel like those kind of quarterbacks, even if they don't get the those high draft picks, they get a low draft pick, and there'll always be a team to see who they can do. They make a lot of money. I mean, worst case scenario. I don't mean disrespect to the guy because I don't know, but like worst case scenario, he bounces around in the league for 2 or 3 years. If he can do it for 3 years, you get your pension in the NFL. That's awesome.
Yeah, I could see him definitely picking up. Similar to how like Stetson Bennett, he's probably not ever going to be a starter, right? But he'll probably have a career backup type, career. And yeah, I could see him filling that role. I could also see him, he's very athletic. I could see him switching positions and maybe doing something else if that's what he wanted to do. I think there is that possibility.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where Hurst goes in the draft this year.
The Falcons.
Yeah.
I have Drake London on my fantasy team, and I don't like him being injured. I mean, he played this week, but yeah, if he wants to like just not be injured until we can draft Hurst to come in, that'd be great. There is nothing more than winning in a Sun Belt championship, more than anything with Georgia State. I want to have an all-star Atlanta Falcons player that came from Georgia State. I just want that jersey.
Amazing.
That is that makes me so that's my man. All right. Let's see. You see same reservations. That's a stupid question. Oh, we didn't talk about this. Come on, Todd. South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
He has a podcast. Theo Vaughn, if you don't know, he has a podcast almost as popular as ours. He only gets presidents and vice presidents on there or whatever. That's not sports related. Ohio State fans, crap like that. Anyhow, Theo Vaughn had a bet with Pavia.
Yeah. So somehow, him and Pavia have become, I guess, friends. And yeah, there was apparently a bet that if they beat South Carolina, was that the bet?
South Carolina. South
Yeah,
Carolina, yeah.
they beat South
If
Carolina.
they beat South Carolina, he was gonna get a date with Pavia's mom.
She's a smoke show, dude. You've seen her, right?
I saw the picture. Yeah.
I actually haven't. I sent this to my to a family member, and he responded immediately. Googles Diego Pavia's mom.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so that was they talk about. So I guess this was done on the podcast, and when Vandy's up big against South Carolina, they start talking to Theo Vaughn on the sidelines. Like, is it true? He's like, yeah. Where should I take her for dinner? And then he's like, are you gonna date her? And he's like, well, I like being his friend. I don't know if I want to be his stepdad. All right, I'm texting. All right, there you go. There's. All right, sent. I texted you the picture of Theo Vaughn and Diego's mom. She's a smoke show. So we already established he's like 73 years old. So she's got to be what, like in her early 80s or something.
That woman is 73.
No, Diego.
Yes.
You said 73.
Oh yeah. Well, his mom's got to be at least 15 years older, right? 16 years, and that's questionable.
I said
right?
80s. I said 80s.
So,
I said 80s.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I want that would be SEC Network needs to do a I dated Pavia's mom reality show, and it'd be Theo Vaughn just like taking Pavia. I don't know what I miss Pavia out on dates and everything. Like that would I'd watch that more than SEC Shorts. That'd be great.
That'd be
Actually,
something.
Oh, that'd be great if she actually after at the conclusion of the show, she's like, I see why they call it SEC Shorts. So he's a Saints fan. I'm allowed to make fun of his lack of whatever. All right, Vandy has a tough as hell schedule after Georgia State. They have Utah State right afterwards, which should be a win. But like after Georgia State, well, okay, so let's look at it this way. Vandy's schedule going forward, they play 3 unranked teams. They play Georgia State, they play Utah State, and they play Kentucky. They win those 3 games. That's your 6 games. That's your bowl eligibility. They've got Bama.
Yeah, they got Bama, LSU,
Missouri,
Auburn,
Texas, Auburn.
Whew.
Dude, so like you talk about wanting to win this game because of last year or not overlooking. Vandy needs this win.
4 wins, yeah.
They need this win because Utah State, Georgia State, and Kentucky. Those are all very, very reasonable wins. But you have nothing but ranked opponents besides that. There's no overlooking Georgia State in this game. I don't think so. I think there's no overlooking. I think this could become a bloodbath, in my opinion.
Ugh.
The only thing that I agree. They're not taking this game lightly for sure for all those reasons. But the way that Vandy plays, they're very, in addition to establishing the run, they are all about time of possession. And unless, maybe there could be obviously big touchdown plays that, maybe blow the score wide open, but they're a long drive type team. They don't mind doing, 12, 13 play drives and grinding out, those types of that type of offense. So I think it might be a lower scoring game than some people might expect, just because that's, Pavia's not going to be throwing the ball 40 times. That's just not going to happen. So
I hope not.
Well, actually, it would probably be a good thing if he does, because that means Georgia State might be in better shape than
We have some good defense.
Yeah, they have to throw it to catch up. Yeah. All right, I'll take that. All right. We've gone for a minute. Let's wrap up the Vandy thing. Todd, you mentioned it earlier. Score predictions. Where I guess we should save you for last, right? We should save you for last. All right. And I'm not going for straight points, but what do you got, Ryan, Tim? What are you guys thinking on this game? What are you expecting?
I think we're gonna lose. I was the first 2 games. I thought they were better than Vandy. I don't know if that's true based on everything I know about Vandy now and how they've been playing. Right? I mean, they've kind of had some good games, but against some poor opponents. So I don't know, man. I think we're gonna lose, and I think we're gonna lose by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what I said in that podcast where my internet cut out and I came with W's and L's. I have no clue what I said for
We
this game.
probably don't know either.
I feel like I said we'd lose this game, but no. Probably 3 TD dogs on this one. I mean, after watching them score 31, look, South Carolina, they lost their starting quarterback, but they scored 31 against South Carolina's defense. I mean, yeah, you could say that the defense was tired, blah, 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 but damn. After looking at the 3 scores of their first 3 games, I feel like we're going to struggle mightily with them.
Yeah.
We all called an L at the beginning of the season on this game.
Boom. Staying true.
Yeah, so the spread is 26.5 points. The over-under is 53.5. So that's like,
so how many are we winning by, David?
So that's like a 40-14 type game that Vegas is calling this. I think that I really like to think that our defense doesn't give up 40 points. And I'm really hoping we can score more than 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to go a little bit closer on that. I also, I'm expecting a loss in this game. So I'll say a 35-20, 35-21 loss in the game, a 2 touchdown loss. I think the 3 of us are pretty much in the same ballpark on where we expect this game to go. All right, Todd, you already said that you think the 26.5 is too many. Where do you think it's at?
Yeah, and I guess I'm going to be pretty much in alignment with all 3 of you. I'm right around that, like 35-17 of a game. I think, the run game is going to be probably, what Vandy relies on. But I do think Georgia State, based on what we've seen in the last, I know it's just Murray State, but I think the offense is starting to get something. I think we'll see a couple plays that maybe Hurst slips by the defense, and Vandy's defenses look good, but again, they haven't really been tested, and so I'm not really, I think Georgia State will score a couple touchdowns for sure, but I think the Vandy offense will probably just be a little too much. I am very curious to see how Vandy's offense plays against, a Georgia State defense that has been at times pretty, exciting to watch. I think there is potential for. Pavi he's pretty good with protecting the ball, so I don't think we're going to see necessarily any big like pick sixes or anything like that from that standpoint. But I am curious to see how. I think that's the matchup I'm looking forward to the most is Georgia State's defense against Vandy's offense.
So if Georgia State loses, give around 14 points, we lose by 10, we lose by 17, something in that 10-17 range. How do we feel about Georgia State going into Sun Belt play in that kind of a loss? And not moral victory bullshit. Just like, we're supposed to lose by 27. We lost by 17. Does that make us feel good going into the bye before Jimmy Madison coming in town?
So I don't love this, but I do think Coach A.D. McGee walks into these games expecting a loss and treating it as a loss. I feel like Ole Miss and Memphis, both of those. Memphis was a little less so, right? Like we sort of tried, and then once it like looked like it was out of hand, we were like, okay, cool, we're done. But I do think that probably Vandy is in a similar boat, so it's hard to say. But I think based on what we've seen, this team is going to be pretty tough in the conference. And I our offense has been really clicking. Our defense makes big plays, with all these safeties apparently that we've never gotten before. And I think that that's a recipe for doing quite well in conference play. So I'm excited about conference play. I think that's when we're going to really know what this team is. And I know I hate that, like, however many games that we're 3 games in now, and we're only going to really know 5 games in. But that's when we're really going to find out what this team's all about.
I think we're starting to look like we know kind of what we're doing. The offense is kind of looking better. QB situation's not settled, but it's looking more settled. So, I mean, I think we'll play the game like you said, Ryan, and then if it gets out of hand, we'll just punt, move on to the next game, move into conference play. We're in the Sun Belt. We're not in the SEC, right? We're not in the American. We'll be fine in the Sun Belt. Like, no matter what ESPN FBI says about, I guess it's like, one other game we're supposed to win this year, I think we'll be in a lot of these games against Sun Belt conference foes. I don't think we're going to be blown out week after week by any Sun Belt team, no matter what. I did find something interesting, though. So, David, you had us scoring more points against Vanderbilt than any other team this season, right? So, Todd, what do you think? Do we score more than 21? You going to go 1 point higher than David somehow?
We scored 30-something last week.
Wait, what?
20
My
points
scoring prediction?
20 points is the most points scored against Vanderbilt. David said we'll score 21, which is the most points scored against them.
Other teams scored against them. Sorry.
Yes.
I thought you meant points that we scored against
Todd,
teams.
what do you think? Do we score more than 21 against Vandy?
My prediction was 35-17, but I'm going to actually make that 35-16 because 17 would imply
go the wrong direction.
17 would imply we got a field goal, and we know that's not happening. And 16 would imply we got 2 touchdowns and a safety. So 2 touchdowns and a safety, that's 16.
All right, I'm
telling you,
downgrading to 17. I'm taking 17 now.
I love how you think it's more likely we'll get a safety than a field goal. That's
I was about to say I don't know if I love Todd or hate Todd. Like I don't know which one the answer is.
Does Koo have eligibility? Did we get Koo? That's why we can't score.
Oh my I'm in the history class right now, and this professor actually asks about the football game of the past 2 weeks.
Wow.
And he talks about he's more focused on Falcons than Georgia State. It comes up, but whatever. And both weeks, I'm like, he's got one job and he's not doing it. He's like, yeah, but it's not his fault. The defense, this. I'm like, the defense was on the field for half the game. He's like, yeah. And they put him in this position. And I'm like, and he's on the field for 14 seconds and he didn't do his one job. And then we have this other guy. Yeah. As his elder, I think he should be more respectful to me.
There we go.
All right. We've gone for already over an hour. I did want to hit a couple. Todd, do you want to stick around for the last call?
Yeah, sure. And I mean, I'll just throw in my 2 cents on how I feel about Georgia State, depending on how this game goes, if that's okay. I feel like if we come out of this game we feel good about the way the quarterback played, I'm gonna feel good going into conference play because like we've established, this is a Sun Belt. It's not the SEC.
Just the Sun Belt.
And based on what we've seen from the other Sun Belt teams on our schedule, I feel like we should feel pretty confident, as long as we go into this with, the right momentum. And I think the right momentum, a win would be huge, obviously, but it could also be in the form of the offense is still, we're seeing a developing offense.
Yeah, that was a question I had for you. Where I put it somewhere in here. So the question was, so if Georgia State wins this game, and we've all 4 of us have already agreed that we don't think Georgia State wins this game. But if Georgia State wins this game, it's 7:30 Eastern time, primetime game on ESPNU. So it's a channel that most people get. Everyone eyes are on Vandy right now because Vandy's historically. And this is not a dig against Vandy, but Vandy's historically not good. They're the team everyone makes fun of in the SEC, right? And Georgia State's.
You don't have to remind me.
But Georgia State's a team that everyone makes fun of. Well, actually, Georgia State is so bad that people don't even know to make fun of them. But anyhow, my point is the eyes are on Vandy right now. You have 2 power wins. You have a blowout of your FCS team as you're supposed to have.
Blowout.
Georgia State wins this game. Does that make Georgia State look good? Or does that make everyone go, Vandy gonna Vandy?
I think if you're talking, I think it's yes to both. I mean, I think people will say Vandy, same old Vandy. I think we're going to get same old Vandy if Vandy loses to Georgia State. And I think Georgia State will have a ranked road win, against an SEC team. And you
first
can say,
ranked road win, right?
It would be.
It'd be first. We have a ranked win against Coastal, I think it was, at home.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
On the road.
We lose at home to Coastal.
Yeah, it was on the.
It had to be on the road.
It was a ranked win at home, wasn't it? We had. All right. I forget. It was probably Coastal, but go ahead. Sorry, Todd. I interrupted. I do that.
Oh no, I think the both things would be true. Like I think Georgia State would be the bigger story because it would be, I think that would be an amazing turn of events that would carry a lot of, that would open up some eyes in the Sun Belt for sure.
Is that going to get Del McGee hired away?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that would do it.
Out of all the games, like, you get these coaches and you want to have them forever, but you don't want to have them forever because if you have them forever, they suck. You have these good coaches that come in, and we get like, but he beat Vandy. That's what gets him. I don't know the Illinois job. Illinois is actually doing pretty good. They're pretty good right now. I don't know. Weird jobs. Ryan, you haven't talked in a minute.
Is that true? I don't know. I was looking at stats because I'm like freaking out because I can't believe that we've only attempted 3 field goals this year and we've missed all of them.
Don't remind me of them.
Like 3 field goals. We've only attempted 3 field goals through 3 games. We have far more. I'm sorry.
This is a prime time for us to hop
last
off
call topic.
and do last call. I do have.
So we can start cussing about it. We can cuss about it.
Yeah, we can start blessing Todd up and down. All right. I want to talk about like some of the last week's scores for the Sun Belt. We can talk about this week games coming up, and we can also talk about Todd's indiscretions and his life choices, and the people in my HR management class who wore Georgia Southern shirts to class.
Lordy.
Tim, do you want to take us out of here?
Sure thing. Thanks for listening. We're going to take a quick break here. Definitely use the restroom. Definitely get more beverages because I've been out for a while. I don't know about y'all. And head over to Last Call. If you liked what you listened to or you didn't, we don't really care. Join our Patreon anyway at patreon.com/State of Atlanta. You'll get live streaming access to Last Call, discounts on merch, group chat action, maybe a cool t-shirt that David's thinking up about being cammed all over your face. And
Todd, we always say the group chat is the best part of the Patreon. Can you back us up on that?
100%. It's why I'm a Patreon member. Just for
better
the
than
group
Panther
chat.
Talk, right, Todd? Better than Panther.
We mostly let our patrons do whatever the hell they want, including coming on the podcast.
The more the merrier. And also, you get adult bevs at tailgates. That's an awesome perk of joining our Patreon. You could actually just come to the tailgate, drink free booze, and go home and watch the game in your house by yourself. You could.
Your story.
With 2 kids or 3.
Wrap it up.
Wait, how many kids did you have in your house?
Anyway, my house.
I don't know how many kids you had. Become a fan show, just $5. I think we still have $5, right, David? $5 a month. That's all it takes. We'd love to see you on the program. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.
Adios.